Dynasty have launched attacks across our western border. They've been planning this for God knows how long. SciComm, Code Red. Issue an immediate retreat order to all GDF units in 10 miles. Get our troops out of there. Weapons free. These things fire, fire back. Get our drone fleet in the air and get me a satellite pointed at this. I want to know what the hell we're dealing with.
Alright, so it's been basically a year since Tempest Rising was made known to the world, and a year later we now actually have access to the first opening mission of the Global Defense Forces campaign in the game. I'll have a link down in the description to some of my previous videos where I dive really deep into the lore and all the information about this game. That's not what we're going to talk about. We're just going to go straight into the GDF, or Global Defense Forces campaign. And yes, GDF/GDI, the Global Defense Initiative, are very similarly named, and I think that's kind of an homage almost to the Command & Conquer faction. So you can see these as like the GDI from Command & Conquer. Tempest Dynasty so far really looks and reminds me of Nod, though what's interesting is there is actually a third faction that's unannounced, but it does not have a campaign, and I'm wondering if it's going to be like the Skrin from Command & Conquer 3. Anyway, let's enjoy the cutscene.
Gotta say, your file was a pretty impressive read. I'm Colonel Fisher. You'll be reporting directly to me. We could certainly use someone with your track record. Intelligence has a situation brewing in, in Iceland. We have routine Tempest harvesting all over the grid, but some of the lights are going out, starting from the east coast. If you ask me, I reckon it looks deliberate. I want you to do a sweep of the area and flush out any Dynasty forces you might find. Remind them that the GDF isn't to be trifled with. I'll link your control interface to the battle network. If you've got any questions, now's the time to voice them.
So kind of like an RPG, you can either ask for more info, but I'm going to just hit no further questions for our video purposes.
Stand by while I patch you through, and good luck. I put my neck on the block to get you this position. Don't let me down. Let's see what you can do, Commander.
Basically, the other options are just extra lore, extra information about the mission.
Tempest harvesting operations have been disrupted in this area. Dynasty interference is suspected. Retake and hold the position. Await the arrival of a mobile construction vehicle, then build a base and recommence harvesting. Destroy any Dynasty forces and search for signs of a nearby Dynasty base. Initializing. Please stand by. Battle control online. Reinforcements have arrived.
So far, the story of Tempest Rising is a pretty basic one. The idea is, hey, Earth had a massive nuclear war, and sort of the governments of the world got together and started the GDF to sort of protect their interests, and I wouldn't be surprised if the GDF aren't necessarily the, like, bestest of good guys. But then there's also the Tempest Dynasty, and they're sort of this undercover, I guess I would closely call them like Nod from Command & Conquer, where they're like this undercover organization. They use like older technology, older gear, and they're sort of fighting this guerrilla war against the GDF, but there's 3 factions, of which we only know 2 at the moment. I am running this, by the way, on full-on Ultra. I feel like I should mention that really quick. Full Ultra, nothing really, actually, I guess Epic. Maybe that's like the equivalent of Ultra, I suppose. On like a 7-year-old rig, like a 1080 Ti, 32 gigs of RAM, 750K, so nothing really out of the ordinary special. And it's running pretty good. The game looks really good. I kind of haven't figured out if you can actually rotate the screen. Well, I'm assuming you probably can, but I just haven't figured it out yet. And there's already a very easy to understand difference between the GDF, Dynasty, and a potential 3rd faction that may or may not be aliens. I feel like they're really sort of setting this up to be aliens, but maybe it's not, and I'm totally wrong. Our mission, very simple, is to destroy Dynasty's construction yard, which is set up way over here. But first, we have to sort of make our way through some of the enemy units that are sort of in between us and them. Now, we're going to hopefully destroy this little... This is basically a rocket buggy from Command & Conquer right there. We're going to just ignore... Which is, but this looks like a Hand of Nod. You can't sit there and say this does not look like a Hand of Nod from Command & Conquer. It really does. We're going to ignore this area just because I don't really want to mess with that flamethrower. We're also not going to really mess with those buildings because it's not really part of the mission. I mean, we could if we wanted to, but it doesn't really give us anything. Now, I was going to say I wonder what's up that road on the right side, but first we're going to have to send some help to these grenadiers. Again, the factions are very obviously different. They look very different. They appear very different. And I personally really like that almost instantly you can kind of see, even for someone like me who's obviously played like 50 minutes of the game, I can immediately tell, hey, that's a Tempest unit or that is a GDF unit. And it's kind of nice how they managed to really nail the different, I guess they call them asymmetrical faction design. And these guys, again, are sort of the self-styled good guys. But I, again, wouldn't be surprised if it turns out when you play the Tempest campaign, which they have confirmed there's going to be 2 campaigns, one for the GDF and one for Tempest. And it wouldn't surprise me if it turns out that sort of, again, both factions are probably not very good. And they're both bad, I guess, in a way. So this is the actual Tempest, which is sort of the equivalent of the Tiberium, though I'm pretty sure that infantry cannot get damaged by them, whereas in the older Command & Conquer games they can damage infantry. Though I then think they may have changed that later on, but definitely the earlier ones you would just lose units if they stopped basically on these vines of Tiberium. But obviously these are not called Tiberium, they're called Tempest. Again, they're definitely not Tiberium, you know. That's copyrighted. But that actually might be copyrighted. I don't know if that's copyrighted or not, but I would kind of assume that the word Tiberium may be copyrighted. This is all very simple. This is even called the Mobile Construction Vehicle, or MCV, and you just build your base, and it's very simple. There's this little weird thing, though, where it just fully builds it, and then it just has a little bit of, like, finalizing, and then it plops out of the sky. But it also might be different. The actual vehicle gets deployed from the MCV, which at that point is just a regular CV or a CY, I guess, a construction yard. It gets deployed, and then we move on to the ore refinery. The game, the music, it screams Command & Conquer, and I am 1000% here for it. And by the way, our uplink will produce, when it's done, will produce intel over time. Actually, we're getting intel... Okay, we're actually getting intel over time from our MCV as well, or I guess our construction yard. We're going to just push south and go towards these AA sites. Oh, there's a lot of units here, actually. Yeah, we'll probably be fine. I'm not too worried. I guess I could build a turret to help with the defense. But a lot of the tracers that you kind of see coming in are actually from these anti-air batteries. And they keep going after my my drone operators. They have drones. The drones are actually very strong. They're like the GDF sort of main anti-vehicle unit. Oh, I'm just trying to hit the... Okay, there we go. Just trying to hit the explosive barrels. We're going to move back, not get that tank. So in my excitement, I actually totally forgot there's a little SAM site over here. So we're going to have to knock this SAM site out. I only sent a single vehicle, but maybe we'll be fine, right? Actually, we might be fine. There you go. Perfect. Now we just take out the SAM site. That's going to take a little bit. All right. Well, we were almost done destroying this AA site. We got that one done. And now we've unlocked an airstrike. And that actually looks like a great target considering there's like flamethrower turrets, a whole set of walls. Airstrike is called in. And we're just going to go ahead and call back this little truck. We're going to start pushing across the bridge here while we can see the GDF airstrike coming in. Very much, again, screaming to me, Red Alert, Command and Conquer in general. Absolutely love the effects, and the music is just screams Command and Conquer. I love it. All right, let's start pushing in. There's just a couple of these flamethrower tanks. The enemy flamethrowers are actually kind of strong. It's a shame that I was not able to like repair my little buggies, but I'm assuming if you have like a repair depot or some sort of building, maybe even a certain unit, then you can. My engineer or infantry is actually constantly being healed by a little medical guy. Although I can only build one of these medics at a time. I think you can only build one, and then whenever they die, you can build another one, but you definitely cannot build more than one. But we're just going to call that a win. For right now, that's all you have from Tempest Rising. Personally, I am really excited to see more. I'm going to be making a ton of content on this. I hope to play both of the campaigns, and I cannot wait to also find out what that third faction is. For now, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you in the next one.